Hi, this is Jodi Smith. I am your grower president for 2021 for the board of directors. And every month I'm trying to bring in a new tool that I have found useful. So the tool today is something I knew Mike was already passionate about. He's been doing it for years. And this is a big one. This is something that I didn't do until about 10 years ago. And that is to invest in real estate. And I've never done flipping, but I've done investing and I own rentals. And I want to have Mike share his experience, what he's done and what's worked. And I'll just add anything that maybe from my perspective. So anyways, Mike.
Well, for those that don't know me, I've been a realtor for 26 years. And about 3 years ago, I pretty much had stopped doing regular retail sales and just started to focus on growing wealth and investments. I had been doing investments for quite a few years, but the older I got, the more I realized commissions are great, but wealth is better. So I decided to put the commissions aside and just focus on growing the wealth. And the way that I do that is several different ways: flipping houses, rental properties. I buy land contracts and notes, buy deficiency notes, etc. So I'm kind of I'm all in on investments really at this point.
That's great. So one of the things I have found owning rentals is I'm able to provide great advice to other people that are considering investing. Have you found the same thing? And
yeah, I think with the creation of like HGTV, now there's tons of people out there who even know what flipping is. There's so many podcasts out there about passive income and such, and now they want to know about rentals. And when you specialize in that field, obviously you're able to answer the questions that's not going to set that investor back or that first time flipper back, right? You're going to give them actual positive advice that will actually be a benefit to them, which should get you residual income or residual commissions if you help them correctly, evaluate that property on the purchase and the resale side of things.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Nope, that's great. I have found too that I have learned what tenants are willing to pay a little bit more in rent for, such as pets. And I find that that's been really valuable to pass along to our investors. Also, just learning the leverage component, right?
Oh, yeah.
Leveraging. And, we hear that word so loosely, but I'll tell you, the other thing is you and I both been in the business 26 years. And this month was 26 years. So we don't have a residual income when we're helping buyers and sellers. And we don't, unless you have a client that you're buying with every year or they're selling every year. And I mean, most of us are not helping builders. What kind of residual income do you have? I know I wasn't a great saver until I got into investing in real estate, because I started seeing how my money was working for me. And I think this is a tool that even if you're new in the business, it's something to keep in the back burner. If you don't feel like you have the risk capacity or the risk tolerance right now, it's not the right time in your life. When I was raising my small daughter, I wouldn't have had the time or the money to do it. But keep that out there in your back burner.
I think that, if you're a younger agent in your 20s or 30s, you should be focusing on this actually.
I like that. Mm-hmm.
Especially with the interest rates being as low as they are, you're able to leverage yourself in a capacity that is just incredible. Now, when we were back in the day, I remember interest rates at 9%, right? And such. So you really couldn't buy a rental property and finance it at 9% and be profitable. Well, now you can finance rental properties at 3.5, 4%. I even heard of an investor the other week closing on a 2.7% interest rate, which is unheard of. Wow. The program is available. I mean, if you think about it, you could go out, buy your home right now or your rental property now, put 20% down, make some capital or CapEx improvements to it, go ahead and refinance. And with the way that your homes are appreciating in the market right now, you literally can pull that 20% out. Now you'll be, 75% leverage or whatever at that point, but really you're into that rental property with no money. So now is a fantastic time to do it. You can literally buy houses in essence zero down. It's the money's just so ridiculously cheap right now, and credit unions, banks, all kinds of investors are just trying to give away the money because it's available. So I would encourage them to definitely take a couple classes, listen to some podcasts, read some books on it, but definitely get invested while you're young.
Mike, I love that. I love that you're kind of like, I'm using the word, I keep using this term as call to action. I mean, that's great advice. Like you said, I didn't start it until my 40s. I wish I would have done it in my 20s. I would have had so much more built up. I love it. Any other little tidbits or advice you'd want to give at this time? Or
I think if you're going to do it, you got to do it. You have to make it an actual business, not a hobby or I don't know what the right word is, so you might want to edit this, but you just want to be happy. You want to go all in if you're going to do it. Run it like a business in order to be truly successful. I find that people overanalyze things, and by the time they've got their number, they've talked themselves out of a cash producing property. If you think about it, right, the amount of equity, I go back to 2008 and 9, I had rental property back then, and then the market crashed, and I, just like everyone else, I sold as fast as I could because I thought that, the end of the world was coming. And those properties, they went to, I remember selling one property in Grand Rapids for $19,000. I mean, if I would have kept that property now, actually, it's funny because I just bought a house on that same street. So we're, 15 years later, I just paid $169 for a house on that same street. So literally I lost $150,000 of equity. And in this market, the way the homes appreciate, I mean, you will see a slight correction in the future, but I don't think it'll be, the Great Recession type setback. But theoretically, if you get in now, what are those properties going to be worth 10 years from now? And you find that people talk themselves out of deals because, it doesn't it's only bringing in $200 or $300 a month. But what they fail to realize is the equity on that, or what they can do leverage wise, borrowing against that asset to buy another property and such. But, my advice is if you're going to do it, but do it as a business, not as a hobby.
No, I love that. That's how I went into it. It's like, Jodi, don't look at this as what you're going to make this year. This is a long-term thing. Yep. And it honestly, all of the properties we own have provided better return than I would have even imagined. So it was a really great thing. I do want to say too, the other thing is it's something that I've taught my daughter about leveraging real estate. It's once you know it, it's so much easier to share it with your friends and encourage their kids to do the same. The other thing I have to say is really know your lease and definitely put things in an LLC.
Yes.
See a real estate attorney. Don't assume, don't wing it. Because you are a licensed realtor, you have to be really, I think to me, as a licensed realtor, I'm even more I feel more on the radar. Understand how you choose tenants, know that, understand that, understand what you are allowed and not allowed as when you're carrying that real estate license.
There's a great organization, the Rental Property Owners Association here in Grand Rapids is a great organization to be with. There are numerous professional property management companies that are associates or affiliated or members of our association. Highly recommend them. They all have the same, code of ethics standards that they have to, work by or live by, whatever you want to say. But definitely, it's something you want to understand. It's nothing to get yourself. You can lose so much money so quick if you just do one thing wrong. So you have to be very diligent on that investment. Whether it's picking the right tenant or picking the right color schemes of a property if you're going to flip that home.
Love
So
it. Yep.
you have to just make sure you're doing your due diligence on something like that. But I'll tell you what, if you get started now, 10 years from now, you're going to have, so much equity built up. Your payments go down. You're getting depreciation on the property for tax purposes, appreciation for wealth purposes, passive income and cash flow. I think it's the best vessel out there for investment. And actually, one other thing, it's if you look at the Forbes richest people in the world, they all have one thing in common, is in that they all have real estate investments. So
wow. Oh, that's
they're all
interesting.
pretty smart. So if smart people are doing it, you might as well do it too.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing. My tax guy told me, because I'm a licensed realtor, I get additional write-offs as well when you own rentals. And he says, don't you ever get rid of your license as long as you own investment properties. I don't recall what those nuggets were, but I thought that was great. The other thing that I learned, I did not have any, I was exposed, but in regards of have a good insurance agent, understand your policy, understand your coverage, because I got to tell you, when I switched insurance companies, I found out some things that would have really harmed us if we would have had a horrible windstorm. I had like 4 roofs not covered with wind damage.
It's you want to set up a team, in essence, when you're going to do real estate investing. Find a good real estate attorney, find an insurance agent that specializes in rental property, because there are so many different policies. Like typically, if a tenant destroys your property, you're not covered, right? So you want to have a rider on your policy that covers that. Same thing for roofs. Wow. I encourage people to get a home warranty for the first year. I encourage them to get get that inspector that's going to tear that house apart, so you know exactly what's in your future for improvements that are going to be needed. Take time. You can call the city of Grand Rapids and get, for an example, or any of those cities or townships, they have a code, rental property code, that the home will have to be certified, right? What has to be done in order to have that home certified? So take your time, build your team, and then invest. And I think safety at that point, you should be safer at that point than just winging something because you think it's a great deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Nope.
I've lost more money on what I thought was a great deal than actually sitting back and analyzing stuff.
Sometimes when it's too good to be true, it's
oh my gosh, it typically is.
Yeah, that's what we try to teach our buyers, and sometimes we even get caught into it. So well, I love this. Great stuff, great things. I really hope this is helpful to somebody or encourages somebody to go ahead and do it.
If anyone has questions about it, I'm easy to get a hold of. Email me, call me, text me. I'm more than happy to sit down with any agent in the association and just discuss how we can help them out, for sure.
Love it, Mike. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. And
thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to see you.
Have a good day, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.